Let me tell you something. Joe Biden versus Donald J. Trump. Joe Biden is cooked. Look at this presidential debate analysis by CNN. Mind you, these are people that absolutely hate Donald Trump. And for the first time in history, I would say this is a bipartisan discussion. They all agree on the same thing. He's cooked. But let's look at what they had to say.
That I don't know will lead to anything, but there are going to be discussion about whether he should continue. And I think part of it is Donald Trump did not meet his mission either. He could not resist the temptation to be nasty, to prevaricate about a whole bunch of things, about his own record, about Biden's record, and to seem petty and small at times. So what you saw was a candidate who's deeply vulnerable and a president who may not be able to take advantage of it.
Okay, let me tell you something. I thought he was just being a straight hater.
Ruben.
Give this man his W, man. Give him his trophy. He straight won this debate. Now, if we're going to talk about debate etiquette, there were some points, in my opinion, where I believe Donald Trump could have been stronger on answering the question. Now, he wanted to stretch the point as far as having his itch to respond back immediately to something that, he wanted to debunk if that wasn't true. I get that part. But stir yourself back in a little bit quicker to the question that they asked you. Because that's some points that, they're going to try to hold against you. We know we won the debate. But answer the questions. Because now it looks like you're trying to avoid them. Which is not, in my opinion, what I thought he was trying to do. But he had to just get his itch back, But let's see what the response is to what this hater had to say.
Listen, if anybody in America thinks that was even close to being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe. That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden from the second he walked out to the closing statement. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion, and he couldn't give an answer. He gave an answer he couldn't even give a coherent answer on the biggest issue for Democrats tonight. I've heard from leading Democrats across the United States, elected governors, congressmen, who are texting me and saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose if Joe Biden's at the top of the ticket. Bob Casey, I promise you tonight, in the state of Pennsylvania, is thrown up in his mouth because he knows that if he's going to stand next to Joe Biden, he's going down in Pennsylvania. If he's on the ticket, I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, look, it was a really disappointing debate performance from Joe Biden. I don't think there's any other way to slice it. His biggest issue that he had to prove to the American people was that he had the energy, had the stamina, and he didn't do that. And so I think that is of concern, and I think for a lot of Democrats, that's very disappointing. I will say Donald Trump also had some really rough moments in this debate, and talking to the Biden campaign, they say their dials started really moving away from Trump as he was increasing his personal attacks on Biden. So I think there was a lot about his kind of character and the kind of personal nastiness that he was putting on display, that doesn't help him with the swing voters that he needs. And I also think you saw him continue to get sort of more and more animated across the course of the debate and, give some really problematic answers about January 6th, some really problematic answers about Putin. So, Donald Trump did not get off scot-free tonight by any stretch. But look, there is no two ways about it. That was not a good debate for Joe Biden.
Hey, y'all, still outside. The video's not over. I'm just doing a quick intermission. Please don't forget to like the video right now while you're at it. Drop a comment on what you think about this post analysis on the presidential debate. And don't forget to follow my TikTok. Help me get to 1,000 followers so I can cover these conversations live. We're going to be covering business relationships for the next few months. I am not stopping. We are on a roll right now, baby. And we are not going to stop. We're going to get back to the video in a minute, but please don't forget, like, drop a comment, and follow. Hit the follow button. The follow button is free, baby. Hit it. All right, back to the video. Holla at your boy.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis. You kind of have the old man versus the con man. I
I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can. But he got a test to me tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
And if I may just add to that, I think Joe Biden lost in the first 3 minutes. I think a lot of voters probably tuned out, and millions of people are having conversations with their families, with their friends, of if the president is up to the task and if he should step aside. And I'm someone who believes the former president is a threat to democracy. I think he is a threat to the America as we know it. He wants to fundamentally change our institutions. He has laid out what his plan is. I am not confident that that is the man to take him on. You cannot tell me democracy is on the line and then give that performance tonight. If based on that, in 18 weeks, Donald Trump will be the president-elect.
The people doing focus groups tonight, and we'll see if our dial group with Laura Coates confirms this, that Biden actually scores pretty well on the issues when he's talking about the substance. And Trump's numbers went down both because he was ducking questions, he was lying about some things, and he was refusing to answer. And some of it was the tone. They don't like it. So when you see that, when you see sort of the statistics, you're going to look at like, oh, that's a mixed bag. But to Vance's point about the president's performance, that's what caused the panic. So the question is, and my question actually is, what happens? Because it's a great political strength of Joe Biden is his resilience and his stubbornness. It's also sometimes a blind spot because he is so stubborn. It's going to be very hard to someone, and I don't know who it is, who could go to Joe Biden and say, you need to do this, number one. And the question is, again, like, I'm just telling you, to Abby's point, I've been doing this for 30-something years, going on 40 years, and I have never, ever had what happened on this thing tonight happen in the middle of the debate. It started early, and it continued. And to Van's point, Van made a very important point. These are people who love Joe Biden, who credit Joe Biden for kicking Donald Trump out of the White House. They're Democrats. The Democratic Party is a very diverse party. It fights about a lot of things. It has generational issues. It's had regional issues and everything else. The thing that unites the Democratic Party is trying to keep Donald Trump from getting back into the White House. They love Joe Biden for kicking him out. They don't want him back. They came into this debate nervous that Biden was in a weak position. They leave this debate panicked.
John, if you love the guy, how could you put him out there? If you love him, if you love Joe Biden, if that was my father, you don't put a guy in that situation.
It's a great point. These guys know this better. These guys know this better because they talk to them. There's this legacy in the Democratic Party. You don't challenge the incumbent because when it's happened in the past, they haven't beaten the incumbent, and then the incumbent has lost the general election.
It was actually Donald Trump that helped make Joe Biden the nominee because there was a feeling that if there were a primary, that would weaken, that Biden would probably win, but it would weaken him in a general election. And so there were people who could have run and didn't run because the history of that is bad. The point is now he is the nominee of the Democratic Party. This isn't the 60s, okay? Voters choose the nominee. He is the nominee. Only he can decide whether he's going to continue. And as you point out, and as Kate knows very well, this is a guy with a lot of pride and who believes in himself. And the idea that he's going to say, you know what, I had a bad debate, I think I'm going to walk away from this, I find it hard to believe.
It was also, and I'll let you, I know Scott, you might have jumped in, but it was also, it was an atypically bad performance, okay? And it was also one night. So yes, was it an important night? Yes, but it was one night in the course of a campaign. So I think let's see how voters react to it. Let's see how voters react to it.
The problem with the one night is that it's a one night that helped confirm people's fears. It's the one night that everybody was watching. That was essentially, Trump said, you ought to take a test. That was his test. And people are going to feel that he came up wanting, not on the substance. I think he actually won on the substance. I don't think Trump did well. I think what it says to a lot of people, a lot of active Democrats is, man, we can beat this guy, but I don't know if we can beat him with the press.
Scott, we haven't heard from you.
When we came on before this debate, I said I thought this candidacy was teetering. And everybody jumped on me.
Yes, we did.
Every single person out here. and I just, the candidacy has fallen. Okay? Van, I know you're speaking from your heart. worried about the president. We should pray for the president. I think his advisors, I think the White House, and I think his family have a lot of explaining to do to their party and to the American people. This night, this one night, was caused by and asked for by the Biden team. They wanted this night. And this is what we got. We have been told for weeks by Democrats who say, oh, in private meetings, I've seen Joe Biden do cartwheels and handstands while doing trigonometry while solving all the nation's problems. We now know that every single person who said that has been lying to the American people.
Including Kevin McCarthy?
We've been told, Kate.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Everything we've been told about his mental acuity by these Democrats has been a lie, and everything we think we knew has been confirmed. I got a text from a friend. She's not terribly political. She'd maxed out to Biden in the last election because she hates Donald Trump. She said to me, I will never forgive the Democratic Party for this election. If the Democrats truly believe that he is an existential threat to democracy, and that's not just some talking point, they will wake up in the morning and they will do something else because this is not sustainable.
That's another point about there are Democrats who are panicking, and then there are a lot of Republicans who did not want to vote for Donald Trump, who do not want to vote for Donald Trump, who are also panicking tonight. I heard from one who said, this is scary. That's how it was described to me. And
I'd second that.
There were a lot of those feelings, not just from the base of the party, but other people who really think that there should be an alternative to Trump, who they think is dangerous. And that's the other part of what is unfolding tonight in terms of the panic that is out there.
You already have, coming into this debate, support for third-party candidates, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. highest, and then Jill Stein and Cornel West nowhere near as close. But if you add it all up, you get into the teens in most states when you do that. I think one byproduct out of this is watch and see if those numbers go up a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to go up anywhere like a Perot standard, but you get to third.
All right, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Don't forget to like the video. Drop a comment on your opinion on this video and suggestions on what other type of content I should cover. And don't forget to follow TikTok. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Relationship Talk with G's. Holla at your boy.
Brother, what's that? Brother, what's that, brother?